Hey there, Sovereigns. Monica Grace from cardreadingqueen.com here. Today's content is healing through going within versus healing through contrast. I'm going to explain what I mean by each of these two terms since I use them in a lot of my content. So healing through going within is basically doing the inner work and creating inner shifts within you in terms of the energy within you. So it's shifting your energy internally, where contrast is attracting an experience to you to show you what is in alignment and what is out of alignment. And so, one of them is basically you can essentially sit in a room and do your healing work and shift your consciousness just through doing healing work. You don't have to actually go out and do anything, take any action specifically. So you shift your healing work you shift your energy through healing work, and then you make that new choice and you sink into that new alignment, and essentially your actions change afterwards. So it's basically doing the inner work to get to the outer work. Whereas healing through contrast, which is what we all do, basically for the majority of our time before we become awakened, and that is attracting an experience. So looking at something on the external through attracting it and deciding what you liked or didn't like about it. So a great example of healing through contrast would be going on lots of dates. Another, or like even just being in a long-term relationship with somebody and realizing that it wasn't the right fit for you, or it's not who you are. Things about that relationship do not align with the truth of who you are. So I experienced this myself through my ex-husband, and it was, and really through like every relationship I had before, I had attracted that experience to show me who I actually am, to like reveal myself to myself. And so it's like really like exploring in the external and discovering who you are that way. So now I would say I mostly do inner work, and inner work is basically, it's really just looking for me at least, and the tools, there are lots of tools you can use. So you can use tarot, astrology, witchcraft, manifestation, law of attraction. You can use journaling, meditation. You can just think to yourself and come up with a new understanding or shift your energy that way. So you can do a lot of different things to shift your energy internally. And, it's really all about what's in your own toolbox and what do you enjoy doing. So you can also do like crystal grids or energy healing. I could really go on and on about different ways you could do the inner work. That is mostly what I do right now. Like I don't learn. I think in the past I would have had to learn all my biggest lessons through attracting that experience of contrast into my life. And now it's like, I don't really need to do that. I instead try to uncover that healing or that growth that I want on my own. So either, there are basically these two ways to heal. Contrast is the outer to inner transformation, and going within is the inner to outer transformation. So, another example, just to like really drive this home, right now I'm doing some inner healing work around, food, around emotional eating, around lack of desire to exercise, basically, or lack of desire to have like an exercise habit, and lack of desire to diet. So I'm doing inner work around this, and I'm also losing weight in the physical. And the losing weight in the physical is not because I'm like oming in my office. It's because that inner work is true transformation within me. Like I'm truly shifting my I'm uncovering false beliefs and shifting that and stepping into a new vibration around that. And those things are changing my actions. So it's not that I have gotten, basically gotten like high off of doing some inner work around this. I've actually shifted my vibration and continued to hold that vibration. Like that's a big part of doing the inner work, is that you uncover and unpack this wounding and you shift your understanding, but then you also decide to live from a place of peace and a place of healedness around that specific thing. So, I've uncovered a bunch of stuff as I'm looking at this, and now I'm living from that new space. And if I were to decide not to do that anymore, then my reality would shift again, because I'm choosing that vibration that I've been trying to shift. All right, so going within, it's really breaking through your blocks around how reality works, trusting God, trusting magic, trusting the law of attraction, trusting the universe, trusting source, trusting spirit, trusting your higher power, your creator. And then, the contrast is like, it's basically when your healing work comes to find you. So as you continue in the world, you tend to grow. That's like pretty much what people do, is they tend to grow and they tend to align to their truer self as they get older. Not in every case, because it is a choice, but for the most part, people tend to do that. And healing through contrast is just that natural progression. So for a long time, I believed that the inner work was where it was at. And I believed that, the higher you ascend, the less you do work through contrast. It's not that I don't believe that anymore. I still do see that with people, is that once they understand the inner work, they just find it more attractive to do the inner work than to heal through contrast. So like, if you think about healing through contrast, it's like if you were trying to decide where to live, to heal through contrast, you would move to each of those places to decide. Or it's the same with a relationship. If you were trying to heal through contrast, you would have each of those relationships. That can be pretty chaotic in terms of living your life. And it can also take a while, if you think about it, because you would have to move to each new place and like resettle yourself, like rebuild your foundation. And, the inner work is like you stay put where you are and you shift your energy internally, and then you let your reality shift around you as you make those transformations. So to me, and this, like, once I found this journey, and once I, got back in touch with my intuition, because I had kind of left it for a while, for me, the inner work is just much more appealing. And I used to think it was faster as well. I have shifted my beliefs around that. I don't know that the inner work is necessarily faster or better. I just think I personally have a preference for it. So as I've learned more about this, I think of these two things as more like a screwdriver versus a hammer, in the sense that you can use either one as a tool given the circumstances. So, healing through contrast, it can be very useful if you are feeling stuck energetically. And sometimes you do. Sometimes you just get stuck on your inner work. Like you're feeling you're feeling very stagnant, you're feeling at a stalemate, and sometimes just saying like, you know what, I'm going to go all in on this experience and see what comes out of that. So an example is like, I don't know where to move, so let me just pick one spot. I will move there, and then I will and go all in on that choice as if it's the right one, and then I will adjust as I go along. And so there is some value in that, especially if you are struggling. It could be the same with a relationship. Like, you know, I'm not sure if this person's the one, but let me go all in with them and see where it leads. Because spinning on it in my mind is not helpful anymore. So I don't believe either is better than the other. I do believe contrast has its place. I do see that as people are ascending, they tend to gravitate more toward the inner work, and they save the contrast for when they're feeling stagnant on the inner work. As far as one going faster than the other, you know, you can sit in inner work for a very long time and not make much of a transformation. So sometimes it's okay to just like go on the outside and try to get some forward movement. And I know for me, I was feeling really stagnant on my journey for a while. So like several months at least, maybe longer. And so I decided, you know, I decided like, well, I don't know if this energy healing stuff works, but I decided to just have a session. And so that was me trying to create something external just to move me forward, and it did move me forward, so it was great. The same can be true if you're like, you know, even like questions like, should I text my twin soul, or should I go visit my twin soul? It's like it's really like you could be stuck in terms of trying to shift your transformation, and so you could do those things in order to like loosen that energy and get it like releasing or shifting, or just get it moving again. So another thing I have heard is that you know, like one is contrast is faster, one is going within is faster, and then two is going within is better, like it's a more ascended thing. I don't know that either of those are true. And then the third one I've heard is that healing through contrast is regression. And so sometimes people will be like, my masculine regressed. Like, I don't understand. The behavior went back to what it was. Or like the person is not as spiritual as I thought they were, or, you know, whatever. The person has drifted down into a lower vibe. That, and then people are like, he regressed. So that to me is really just, all you're really saying is that like you're looking at the outside and what's happening on the outside to determine what's happening on the inside with the person. And typically what I sense is happening is that person chose to heal through contrast for just that period of time. And, you know, I've talked about this. I had this Facebook troll, and I was trying to choose peace for so long with him, and it really wasn't working. Like he just kept like coming at me no matter what I did, even though I was trying to choose peace with him at my core. Then I decided to basically heal through contrast. So I was arguing with him, and I tossed out, he had been insulting me a lot, and I didn't block him, I didn't unfriend him. So then I was arguing with him about something else, and I tossed out some insults to kind of lighten the mood. Like I was just, you know, kind of picking at things that he was saying, and that was contrast. And it felt bad. I thought it was gonna feel so good to zing this guy, and it felt really bad. And so that was the last piece I personally needed to choose peace at the core with this person. Because because what I did was I chose war instead for like a very short period, and it felt so bad that it like really solidified my desire for peace there. So that is when I think contrast is very valuable on this journey. And again, I think it's like two different tools with two different purposes on the journey, two different ways to heal things. So let's see what else. I spent a lot of my life healing through contrast, as most unawakened do. And when I say unawakened, I just mean that you're not consciously on the journey. And now I do most of my stuff through inner work. I use the reflection journaling practice, which you can find on my website, cardreadingqueen.com/freebies. And then I also just do, I've kind of internalized the reflection journaling practice, so I can actually do that entire, it's like a journaling set of journaling prompts, but I can actually do that by myself, basically. I can just do it internally pretty easily now. So I've internalized a lot of that and kind of mastered that process in many ways. And thus I have been able, a lot of times I'm just healing kind of as I go about my day. Anything that is upsetting me or frustrating me. So how this applies to twins. I think a big part of it is really just accepting your twins' choices and accepting that sometimes they choose to heal through contrast as opposed to doing their inner work. Now their inner work, the interesting thing about twin souls is that everybody, I guess it's just an interesting thing about people. So everybody has their own unique relationship to God, basically, or their own way of relating to God, their higher power, universe, spirit, source, your creator, whatever you want to call it. I often call that God, because that's just my personal preference. So everybody has their own unique relationship, though. So your twins' process for inner healing work may be quite different from yours, and that's okay. Lots of people come at this through like personal development, or they just have other ways of coming at it. It doesn't have to be specifically twin soul inner healing work. For me, that's just the way that I've chosen to do mine. And I also use tarot a lot. Tarot's a big one for me. And tarot and oracle readings. So I do that to communicate with God as well. So that's for me. Other people use other tools, and any tool is fine. Any way in which you relate to your higher power is fine. So, but just know that sometimes your twin soul is going to choose differently than you. So they're gonna have a different way of doing their inner work. They're also gonna have a different way of experiencing contrast, and they're going to sometimes choose to heal differently. So sometimes you will heal for a specific wound through the inner work, and they will heal that same wound through contrast. So a great example would be like they are in a relationship with somebody and you are single, and you are healing that thing through your inner work, whatever the block is, and they are healing that block through that relationship. So that's another thing that can happen, and it's really just, one of the blocks to twin souls is that you have to respect your twin soul as an individual, and just know that it's really about trusting that at the core the two of you are making the same choice, and even if you can't see that on the outside, or even if they are healing through contrast, you have to really come to accept that, basically. I think that's really it. I think I've said like most of the rest of my notes on this. So, yeah, I think that's it. Sorry for the long, long outro, I guess. So I hope this has been helpful to you in understanding the difference between healing through doing your inner work and through going within, and healing through contrast. Let me know if you have any more questions about it. I would love to chat about it. And you can leave a comment anywhere on this post or on this video, whatever channel you're watching it on, or you can just email me, team@cardreadingqueen.com, and I will see it, and I can make another video about it if necessary. So thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope it was helpful to you. Have a beautiful and blessed day.
Searching for your twin soul or wondering if the person you're with is the one? Make sure you check out my book related to this episode called Find Your Twin Soul: The 9 Foolproof Ways You Can Recognize and Confirm Your Twin Soul. In the book, I talk about why the question of who your twin soul is might come up for you over and over again, and what's really going on in your energy. I share 9 amazing and diverse ways to determine the identity of your twin soul, with detailed instructions on how to complete each test. What to do if you know who your twin soul is, but the tests are pointing away from that person or even toward someone else. And how astrology, tarot, and psychic readers are able to help you find your twin soul, and the many ways in which they can't confirm your twin soul for you. You can find the book, Find Your Twin Soul, at all the major retailers, or find links in the description to learn more. And don't forget to check out the rest of the books in the Twin Soul Hearts and Union series.